Hello stampers, this is Yana Smakula for My Favorite Things. Welcome back for another video tutorial. In this video, I'm creating a birthday card using the My Favorite Things presents and Pupcakes stamp set. Let's jump right in. I planned this card design before starting to film my video, and I did that by laying the stamps I wanted to use on my work surface and grouping them how I liked. It is similar to creating a sketch for your card, but instead of using a pen and a piece of paper, you're using actual products. With the design in mind and with the images selected, I moved on to stamping. I used my Mini Misty stamping tool, a 130-pound white smooth cardstock, and stamped images in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It is an alcohol marker-friendly ink, and since I'll be coloring these images using alcohol markers, I needed to make sure I used the correct type of ink. Next, I pulled out my Olo markers. I'm really enjoying these lately, and I did simple coloring, as usual, to bring these images to life. I went with light, warm gray to color the dog and the cat. I basically outlined the images using the light gray, and then I used an even lighter gray to blend the color into white. So my animals are going to be white with just some slightly darker gray fur on the paws of the dog, and then some brown spots on the cat. I used a pale red to add color to the inside of the ears, to the tongue, and to create blush on their cheeks. And then a darker red was used for the inside of the mouth, and a very dark gray was used to color the nose. You can also use black here if you want. I colored the kitty in the same way, with the exception of adding brown marks. I colored the ears brown, added brown stripes to the tail, and then some brown spots to the legs and to the body. Next, I used yellow, green, and pink to color the pennants. So just two colors for each pennant, a light and a slightly darker shade of that same color to add color variation and some shading. So I have a yellow, a green, a pink, and then another yellow pennant. And that's basically the color combination for my card today. I used the same colors to color the streamers and then also the balloons. So again, pink, green, and yellow. Now, there are coordinating dies available for this stamp set, allowing you to cut every single image out, including the streamers. And of course, I used mine to do just that. Highly recommend getting the die set. You will be able to create so much more with these stamps if you have the dies. Next, I worked on the background for my card. Now, I knew I wanted to create something bright and colorful because I already had pretty neutral colored animals. So I started with a sheet of bright pink cardstock. Now, I didn't want to have just a plain sheet of color. I needed to add something to it, and I was able to do that using the colorful confetti background stamp from My Favorite Things. It is a brilliant stamp, although it doesn't look like much at first. But once you start stamping, you can create some absolutely unique and fun and colorful backgrounds. Now, you would typically stamp this in multiple colors of ink on white background, but since I already have a colorful background here, since I'm using pink cardstock, I stamped this stamp in watermark ink. So I'm creating a tone-on-tone background. I stamped it 4 times, rotating my paper after each impression, and I just basically filled it with lots of different dots or confetti. It is so very easy, and the result is just brilliant. Here's a closer look at this background. I really love all of that faux texture, and I can't wait to stamp this same design, the same stamp, in multiple colors of ink on white background. I have seen some really amazing examples on Instagram. Next, I needed to create a sentiment for my card, and I used a banner die along with a stamped sentiment for that. Now, the banner was cut using It's a Banner die set. I cut it from 3 shades of green cardstock, so dark, medium, and light. And next, I picked a sentiment from the Banner Day Celebrations stamp set. This stamp set coordinates with the die set, with the banner die. And I heat embossed my sentiment in white embossing powder. I didn't want to add any black here, so that's why I went with white. I first treated my paper with an anti-static powder. I inked up the stamp with watermark ink. I added white embossing powder over the stamped image, and I heat set it. Now, my mistake here was to use a fine white embossing powder instead of regular, but it all worked fine in the end. The banner die creates various color banners for your cards, and you can have, one or multiple banners depending on your sentiment. I needed just one banner here, and this banner also helped ground my scene. As you'll see, I have my animals sitting on the banner. Without the banner, they were just floating in the air. Now, to assemble the banner, I used foam adhesive squares for the heat embossed part, and then foam mounted that over the main die kit. Next, I used glue, and I glued the dark green die cut pieces, so I did not pop these up. Now, did I mention how much I like this set? I love how this allows me to create a dimensional banner with, various falls, and how I'm able to use various shades of cardstock to also add dimension with the help of cardstock. So I not only have actual physical dimension, but the illusion of dimension by using different shades of paper. Okay, moving on. I have already adhered my background to an A2 side folding card base. So my card base is white and I have the pink on the front of the card. Next, I foam mounted my sentiment banner in the center, somewhat closer to the bottom 1/3. Next, I added my animals on top. I added the hot air balloons and the pennants. I have them overlap the balloons a little bit. I have foam adhesive added to the back of each of these elements, so everything is popped up on my card. I love to add dimension when I'm making cards. There's hardly anything ever adhered flat. And lastly, I added the streamers, and that finished my card. I didn't show this on camera, but I also used a white Jelly Roll pen, and I drew some white highlights on some of the elements. This always adds such a fun look, and I absolutely love the result. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will give this idea a try. If you do, please share online and tag us on social media. We always enjoy seeing what you guys are making. Subscribe now and hit that bell icon not to miss any new card making tutorials. Thanks for spending time with me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.